Project Management, Amy Thornton, student ID number 10767845, coursework 1. So the learning outcomes about my project is going to be all about Green Peaks, our new higher education facility, the project management triangle, work breakdown structure, Gantt chart, stakeholder identification, types of stakeholder, power versus interest, and stakeholder management and recommendations. So about the Green Peaks, an introduction. Green Peaks consists of 10 classrooms, 2 big lecture halls and 8 seminar rooms, all made from recycled materials. What makes Green Peaks special is its capacity to maximise student engagement from face-to-face, online and hybrid, encompassing each learning style whilst being current and relevant during this post-COVID era. Embracing the 3 C's of project management, Green Peaks offers a unique place of study, coordinates all types of student engagement and experience in a green, planet-friendly concept. Methodology of the delivery will include stakeholder analysis, Gantt charts and the iron triangle. The environment for application is education, and this new way of learning will reignite a passion for study. In order to reinforce Green Peaks' unique, finite and revolutionary change, the facility demonstrates just how it meets the attributes of a project. Green Peaks seeks to be at the forefront of education, providing an establishment for a truly hybrid learning experience. The Sustainable Development Goals are paramount for all successful projects in the modern world, and in turn create a sustainable enterprise ideal, according to Shkelly. On this foundation, the conservation or fortification at each stage of project management for Green Peaks will be considered carefully. The Iron Triangle. A true consideration of the project parameters with a focus on time, cost and quality, whilst embedding the 3 C's of project management: concept, content and context. The Iron Triangle is used to capture the requirements for the project, and through execution offers constraints which need to be balanced to successfully deliver. As suggested by Mailer 2010, it's vital to know in advance what can and cannot be moved or compromised. These form the principles of the Iron Triangle. What is the desired quality, cost, schedule, what's in scope and what is out of scope. So, taking the Iron Triangle to Green Peaks, the quality shall be manufactured from sustainable recycled materials and powered by renewable energy sources. It shall not cost more than 5 million. It shall be delivered within 24 months. The in-scope, planning, design, build, handover commissioning, and out-of-scope, regulatory approval, student recruitment and staffing. Work breakdown structure is one of the best project management concepts to utilise, as it breaks down the scope of the task into deliverable elements, enabling the planning and prioritisation of each activity. It can be used in the planning phase to understand the breakdown of the project scope, and then used through the execution phase to govern and control the execution of the activities. Putting that on Green Peaks, you can see here that the activities group into work packages of common function and skill sets. It shows discrete work packages required to successfully execute the project. There is no link to organisational structure of the team, the specific deliverables of a project, or the costs associated with the work packages. The Gantt chart, however, is a project management tool visualising timelines and deadlines, giving a true reflection of what activities are planned and the dependencies between them, including critical path, where the project is at the current time, including what tasks have already been completed, what the future completion schedule should look like. So, stakeholder identification models. Stakeholders are any individual or group who have a vested interest or stake in the positive outcome of a project and are able to influence the direction. They provide requirements of the project and measure the success in delivery of those upon completion. Stakeholders can come from a range of areas and have a range of interests in the project: financial, regulatory, strategic, political, for example. According to Sutterfield et al., the 9 steps to a continuous and dynamic strategic project stakeholder management framework will enable project managers to assess each project stakeholder, and the situational factors to minimise the potential conflicts with the various project stakeholders, while capitalising on the strengths of the project team and the opportunities presented by the various project stakeholders. Stakeholders in most projects can be categorised into 2 groups: internal and external. Each stakeholder will have different interests in the outcome of the project, which in turn will influence the direction, decisions and priority given to the project requirements. Similarly, each stakeholder will have a different level of power based on their position and associated decision-making powers. This power determines the level to which each stakeholder can influence the outcome of a project, both negatively and positively. Mailer 2010 also suggests a bridge model of project management in order to link from internal stakeholders to external from a quality management perspective and with a focus on service provision, expectation and perception. Trevor Young provides a comprehensive list of questions to ask stakeholders, including function expectations within and specific interests. Who has interest? Who has benefit? Who can be adversely affected? Who can impact the effort? Who has power and influence? And who controls the resources? Looking at the stakeholders for Green Peaks, you can see here we've got the stakeholder and the impact on the project. Employees deliver the work packages, managers ensure the translation of the strategic objectives, shareholders ensure investment of the money and time, customers, the staff and students, the day-to-day users providing feedback, the suppliers provide physical resources, regulators provide approval of the intended purposes, fire safety, environmental impact, for example, the pressure group, the demand for environmentally friendly solutions, the community provide users of the facility keen that it integrates well in the existing community, noise, pollution, traffic, for example, the government with planning permission. And looking at the power versus interest grid, we want to be aiming for the top right corner, the high interest and high power. So both the attributes of high power have significantly a high ability to control the outcome and the decisions, high interest, significant interest in the execution and outcomes. So to be in the top right, to have high interest and high power, both of the attributes of the above, and therefore well positioned to care about the project's outcome, but critically to determine its success and future. When utilising the stakeholder influence model, it exhibits values and insights around which roles stakeholders play in the early development of Green Peaks, as according to Riderhell 2020. Using this model, it demonstrates the importance of a collaborative approach with Green Peaks as high influence stakeholders, and from this, how suitable strategies are then defined to engage with stakeholders in different parts of the matrix. That's according to APM 2012. Looking at the power versus interest with Green Peaks, you can see there that managers and stakeholders are indeed in the top right corner. How to manage stakeholders. Once a stakeholder has been identified, an appropriate management strategy needs to be deployed. In the case of high interest stakeholders, this would usually take the form of a communication management plan, where the frequency, type of content and communications is laid out to best suit the needs of the specific stakeholders. In doing so, these stakeholders feel aware of the definition and progress of a project without the need to worry or disrupt through execution. In the case of high power stakeholders, this would usually take the form of an appropriate decision-making forums and governance to ensure those with the power to influence the direction of a project are afforded the time and mechanism to do so. This ensures alignment between the desired project outcomes and the stakeholder engagement of what is required to get there. Looking at the stakeholder management plan for Green Peaks, you can see the stakeholders on the left-hand side and the management required from each there. So the employees have regular information on the latest events, the managers need the detailed information on the latest project developments, shareholders need proactive and regular communication on the status, the customers need regular updates on progress and a general overview, the suppliers and regulators and the government to a certain extent need to ensure they are happy. Pressure groups and community, regular two-way communication to ensure their views and concerns are heard and understood. So looking at recommendations, I've got a risk-focused recommendation with a 3-tier focus. A recommendation would be to use a steep coil method as suggested by Stein in order to fully analyse the breadth of risk across each area. As all projects, associated elements of risk, and I would recommend further preparation but critically reviewing the WBS to conduct a risk breakdown structure. I would also recommend a detailed risk response planning in order to fully explore risk controls, transfer, escalation, avoidance, acceptance and actions. This would help fully prepare to action the risk alongside the steep coil and RBS. I would also recommend a project director who champions a project and communicates with each stakeholder individually. This means they'll be able to outline the specific objectives, achievements and successes, tailoring the delivery and presentation of each of these stakeholders as different interests. As suggested by Pinto 2020, a final recommendation would be to ensure that a full skill set audit has been underpinned with clear project management training to be targeted in alignment with the project management skills. Thank you very much.